way before this.
We're gonna miss you.
This.
We're
Thank
gonna miss you, Abby.
Thank you.
It's Anna Cohen's yort site, right? Today, that's what.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, yes,
Today?
Yeah,
yes. Right now, Aleph Menachem Av, Aaron HaKohen.
right.
And tomorrow is Sarah Yehudit's birthday.
Really, the 2nd of Av?
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, also my granddaughter, and also Pamela Leah. It's also her birthday.
I know it's Leah's
It's
birthday.
Bet Av? It's not in Tammuz, her birthday?
No, but
Well, her secular birthday is the
July 26th or something.
right. That's the same as my son's.
right.
His is the 25th of Tammuz, and hers is the 2nd of Av. Yeah.
Okay, I think we're going to be a small group, but I just wanted to do it for people who couldn't come today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Also to warm us up for this afternoon. So I was speaking to Sarah Yehudi yesterday, and I was saying, you know, someone was saying it's like being in the time of Esther, and we're in Esther's shoes, going to Hashem and praying. And I said to her, I wonder if I should do a Ratzon meditation. And that wasn't my feeling. And she said, no, it's like really, I'll tell you what she said. Prayer. It's time for prayer. Prayer is our weapon. And she said, especially hitbodedut, like talking, this personal talking to Hashem. What am I really praying for? It's an interesting question, you know, like when I went walking this morning, I kept saying, Ana Hashem Hoshiana, Ana Noetzlichana. Like that's one of my ongoing prayers. But, you know, if Hashem is before us and we're really asking for Rachamim Gedolim, like she said, it's really important to have our personal prayer. And then she said something interesting of take on some kind of commitment, some kind of mitzvah, you know, some kind of small things. So what I'm trying to do, Bli Netter, is like, you know, I get up in the morning and I have a cup of tea and I meditate, and then, okay, I might throw in some laundry. No, pray first. First thing, pray. So l'shem, you know, l'shem Yeshua, the same for all of Am Yisrael. So I think it is an important thing. Take on, I think it's also important, something maybe that you've been struggling to do and you really want to do, like now is really the time to do it. So we're
so I once heard Daniel Katz recording, and he was talking to his group about going into the bedroom without your cell phone and waking up in the morning and not turning on your cell phone. First praying, and then so I've been trying to do that because I
right.
think it's very significant because we get like
I know, first thing in the morning, what's going on? What's happening? No, first thing is a sham, right? So that's
Wow.
also
That's very special.
very special. So yeah. And she said you could take it on for a short period of time, like take it on just for the month, try out something. Okay, I just want to say one more thing. I had a friend, my friend with Gila, she was here on Shabbat, and we were in the studio, my husband's studio, and she said to me, it's so incredible how he rebuilt his studio from ashes. Everything burned. It was like, I remember walking by it. First of all, it was burning metal, right? And then, you know, it got cleaned up and it looked like a gigantic bowling alley. It was just this empty space. Now, Baruch Hashem, 7 years later, you never know that, and it's more beautiful than the first one, and he's painting again. And she said, we have to remember that when we go through, I think the Rebbe also said this, you know, like, you know, when we go through difficult times of destruction, then it's followed by times, flourishing times, right? It's kind of like the Ritzov V'Shov. It's like there's contraction and then there's expansion. And I think it's important that now, hi everyone, now, especially now, when we're going through inside each one of our days, there's contraction, like there's times of fear, times of insecurity, like those thoughts that come to us, like, uh-oh, what if, and right? So there's contraction, and we have to know that it's just part of the process. Like, notice a contraction, and sometimes you just don't feel good, you don't feel happy, you don't feel, it's okay, it's going to change. Don't get so freaked out about it, because it's just part of the process of life. So I really wanted to say that.
Also as a nation, it's like, I mean, Kibbutz Be'eri is like, burnt. I mean, they can't live there, and Kfar Aza and all these places. And I'll never forget. I mean, I think maybe it was somebody from the group, sent around a few months after it started, that after the war started, that in Be'eri they were plowing wheat again. They were plowing the fields, and this was like after. So also as a nation, I mean, I think because the nation piece is so huge, like look at what's going on in the north. How will those people ever get back there? Bezrat Hashem, they will. Like, we have to hold on to that.
We
Like,
have to hold on to that, right? We
Yeah.
really have to hold on to that. We were driving on that road from Beit Shemesh going to Kfish Shlosh, and there were a lot of fires there.
Mhm.
And we drove by, and it was like, wow, we hadn't been there for a while, and it grew back, like the forest grew back. Also by us, the forest grew back. So
The Moshav, also
right,
flourished.
right. So we just like, we have to hold on and just believe that this is what Hashem wants us to go through now. Like, hard to understand, but this is it. Okay, so I just want to mention briefly, I could talk like a half an hour on each thing, but in the Sefer Yetzirah, the letter Tet rules over Shmi'ah, rules over hearing. The part of the body is the left kidney. And there's a very interesting Yud K Vav K for this month, but if I have time, I'll do it at the end. I'll try to mention it briefly. We're going to unpack all this later today. I just want to say what we learned from the meditation retreat, like processing it with everybody with Sarah Yehudit. First of all, this thing of hearing. So the Svada, the Pri Tzaddik says something really interesting about hearing. A lot of the Rebbes do. It's the hearing that gets inside of your heart. So in terms of learning, like the what we learned on the retreat about the Hevle de Garma, what we realized what we should have done was, like, we learned it, we meditated, then we went on. What we're going to do next time, and what we're going to do this afternoon, is that we're going to learn, we're going to meditate on it, we're going to write about it, and then we're going to pray about it. And if we have time, we're going to go back and do that again. And that is Shmi'ah. It's going to get into your heart. That's really what we're working on this month. And the letter Tet, okay, so the first time a letter is mentioned in the Torah is the source meaning of that. And of course, the first time Tet is mentioned is Hashem saw the light Kitov, right? But we know that this light, or Kitov, was hidden. It's hidden light. And really what we're really praying for, Or Chodesh Al Tzion Ta'ir, is for this hidden light to be revealed. Okay, and the part of the body, which is the kidney, the left kidney. Okay, so the right is always like the good, and the left is like the raw. So part of the tikkun of the month is to, like, bring the kidney energy into the good. And what do the kidneys do? They're our advisors. And the Pri Tzaddik said something so interesting. He said, in a sense, they're even higher than Sechel. So and also, like in Chinese medicine, I have notes and notes and notes about the kidneys. But one of the things that was really interesting was the kidneys produce marrow, which is the matrix of the bones. So when we do our meditation on the breath of the bones, it's connected to the kidneys. And the kidneys, it's like Abraham knew Hashem from his kidneys. it's distracting when the speaker image changes. I don't know what you mean, Devorah.
Not everybody is muted. So, I just asked if people could mute themselves if they weren't sharing.
Okay. I'm just say there. Okay. So it's like this going deeply into ourselves, like this intuitive. You have to get really quiet to hear what your kidneys are saying to you, right? It's like so deep. We're going to talk about that more this afternoon. The first time that something is mentioned in the Torah is this sort. So when is the first time that hearing is mentioned?
With Adam and Chava?
Exactly. Adam and Hava, after they ate from the tree, Hashem said to them, they heard the voice of Hashem walking in the garden. Their first hearing was Hashem saying, "Where are you? Why are you hiding? Where are you?" Right? So it's really, really deep, right? Where are you? Ayeka. Okay, so I just want to say something about what we're going to be learning this afternoon. It's really interesting, and it's all connected. It's from the Or Gedaliahu. What was his name? Gedalia Shor, Rav Gedalia Shor. He lived in New York. He was nifter not so long ago, maybe 10 years ago, and he wrote a perush on the Torah. Listen to what he says. He's quoting from Masechet Brachot 32 Aleph. If you want to look it up, it's really interesting. Kol Adam sheyesh bo da'at ke'ilu nivne Beit HaMikdash biyamav. A person who has da'at, it's as if the Beit HaMikdash was built in his day. Then he goes on, like, just as the Beit HaMikdash is like separated from everything else in its kedusha, like holy is something that's separate from profane. So when we are, separated from all the stuff, and like we are like connected in our dat with Hashem, we resemble the Beit HaMikdash. And the paragraph ends, that we resemble the Beit HaMikdash, the chosen place, to be separated in our holiness. And when we do that, it's like as if we're building the Beit HaMikdash. Interesting. So this is a text we're going to do this afternoon. But we've talked a lot about da'at, like what is da'at and how do we acquire da'at? That's the theme for this afternoon. And it's really interesting that there's yeshuv da'at. When we meditate, we're settling our da'at, we're expanding our consciousness, which is expanded da'at. If you remember, Kol Yamei Ani Ra'im Lev Tov Mishteh Tamid. And the Gemara says, it's a pasuk from Mishlei, Kol Yamei Ani Ra'im, all the days of a poor person are Ra. And the Gemara said, what is Ani? And the Gemara answers, Ani Badat. When you're in constricted consciousness, and the opposite of it, Lev Tov Mishteh Tamid, that someone who has a Lev Tov is expanded consciousness, who's in a place of Mishteh Tamid, and that's how the Shulchan Aruch ends, right? It begins Shivit Yoshem Lenegdi Tamid, and it ends Tov Lev Mishteh Tamid. So one of the ways that we expand our consciousness is through meditation, is through our yeshuv, settling our da'at into one thing, into Shem Hashem, into a pasuk, into light. And by doing that, we're building the Beit HaMikdash. We're resembling the Beit HaMikdash. It's pretty awesome. I'm going to say one more thing and then we're going to meditate. The Netivot Shalom. So there's a whole volume which is all about midot, like learning Torah, tefillah, tshuva. It's a whole volume. And you know how he starts? Netivot Hadat. And he talks about, different ways and how da'at, this settled consciousness, he says there's different levels. There's behirut hadat, there's ha'arat hadat. Ha'arat hadat is like when your dad is totally illuminated. Like when we have those peak moments, like sometimes you're meditating and you just feel like you've transcended, you're in another place, that awesome feeling. Behirut hadat is like this clarity of our dad. And so it's interesting. So we get it from different places, from meditation, but learning Torah, we can come to this place of behirut dat. I think especially if we're learning out loud,